Hi, I'm Chels. I'm a brand and web designer that helps you get new leads, make more money, and save time. Please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, and be sure to join my email list. I also have a free checklist, the 6 secrets to a successful website. That is my free gift to you, so please download that. I want to talk about the different website builders that are currently on the market, but specifically the ones that I have used in the past. I'll talk about the ones that I consider the more simple and easy to use website builders. Then you have the ones that are more advanced or more like medium level, and then you have the ones that are kind of complex and more advanced. So to first begin, the simple website builders that I've used are Squarespace, Wix, and Shopify. I first used Squarespace in college, actually in grad school. When I went abroad for a year, I wanted a way to blog about my experience living abroad and living in France, and I liked Squarespace a lot. Initially, I did Blogspot because it was a free blogging website, but Squarespace, I love their templates. So Squarespace, a little bit of history, was created in 2003 by 21-year-old Anthony Casalina in Baltimore. So he built a website building tool for himself. And back then there were very few options for building a website with no code. So he built his own tool, shared it with friends and family. They really liked it. He eventually started his own business, and that's why we have Squarespace today. My personal opinion about Squarespace, I like it a lot. I feel as though if you're just starting off with a website, go to Squarespace. Their templates, there's so many templates that you can use. They're very clean, and I like the fact that they're minimalist. So it only has on there the things that you really need to include on your website. There's not a lot of distractions or features, and it's very easy to use. You swap out your pictures, you add in your own text. You can't go wrong with Squarespace, in my opinion. So the good thing about Squarespace is that it's easy to use, as I've mentioned, but the limitations of it is that you can't customize it the way that you can on some other platforms. But if you're new to web design, if you're new to websites in general, Squarespace is going to get you pretty far. And if you want to toy around with adding more features to your website, that's when you're going to need something a little bit more complex. Wanted to talk about Wix. I have my opinion about Wix, but I will first talk about the history of it. Wix was founded in 2006 by Israeli developers, and I hope I'm pronouncing their names correctly. Avishai Abrahami, Nadav Abrahami, and Giora Kaplan. It did very well because it was very functional. There was a large number of options that you can do to customize your website, and it became very, very popular. A lot of people use Wix. I think it's easy to use personally. Easy is relative because I have some clients who had Wix websites and they weren't able to navigate it too well. And there were some things that weren't, I guess can be considered not necessarily intuitive, but I was able to figure out, so I feel like it's easy to use. Personally though, I'm not a huge fan of Wix because the plans start off very low cost, but once you start adding in features that you'd like, they will charge you. And so they'll charge you for some stuff that is kind of included with other website builders, so that by the time you've added all the features, you're kind of paying a lot for a website where it's more affordable somewhere else. I have seen some very nice, beautiful, clean websites that were built on Wix. So you can do a lot of dangerous things with Wix, but I personally would prefer Squarespace to Wix. The only thing with Wix is I think the e-commerce is probably better on Wix, but I haven't used the e-commerce on Squarespace. I know I haven't used it much, so I can't really comment on it. Another easy website builder or simple website builder that I would consider simple is Shopify. Some people probably not agree with that, but I feel as though if you have an idea for a store today, an online store, you can get a Shopify website up and running within an hour, within a few hours, get a domain name, build your website, just choose one of the free templates, and you have an online store. Yeah, you're just paying a monthly fee and you're able to start selling. Shopify was founded in 2005 by Canadians Tobias Lutke and Scott Lake. They were opening an online store for snowboarding equipment, and they weren't happy with there were very few e-commerce builders and products on the market. So Lutke built his own, and Shopify launched in 2006. I like Shopify. I think Shopify is a great option if you are an e-commerce based business. It's a tried and true e-commerce platform. It is battle tested. The real advantage of Shopify is not necessarily in the web design, it's the back end. You know, you get a Shopify website, you can see all the analytics you need. You can set your inventory so that customers can know when you go out of stock. You can manage all your orders on there, your customers, your analytics, how often are people visiting, are people coming back and purchasing, are they a return customer. Shopify is great if you're selling things on there. It is a little bit tricky to customize because I think it's based on the Ruby and Rails open source platform. If you're able to customize the Shopify website, I've had to do it. I see why Shopify developers make a lot of money because it's a challenge, but I like Shopify a lot though. You know, if you're looking for a simple free template and you're just paying for the back end, I think I want to say the cheapest plan is about $30 a month, but I haven't checked. It's somewhere in the 20s per month. But I would recommend Shopify if you are selling merch and products. But you have another option with WordPress, which is WooCommerce, and I'll talk about that next. So a more complicated builder to me is WordPress. WordPress is very popular. It's actually used by 70% of all websites. I like WordPress because it's free and it's open source. You don't have like a private company that owns WordPress. It's a free software that you can use. You can have your own website built with WordPress that's not on the WordPress servers. So WordPress itself is free. So if your hosting can support it, or usually most hosting providers provide WordPress, you can use it. It's very, very popular. So it's very easy to find web developers that specialize in WordPress. My only comment on it is that the UI is kind of outdated and it's a little clunky. So if you're new to looking at the back end, I guess, of front end websites like WordPress, it can be intimidating. It's not a nice UI. So that's my only comment with it. But I like the fact that it's free, it's open source, it's really popular. Because it's been around for so long, there's so many templates, plugins, tools that are built based on WordPress. We were talking about e-commerce with Shopify. WordPress has something called WooCommerce that you can sell merch. You can sell anything on, and it's free to use. And essentially with WooCommerce, if you have your store, you own your online store for real. Whereas if you have a website on Shopify and you wanted to move to another platform, I don't know if that would be easy. I actually don't even know what that process looks like. You'd have to export almost all the analytics and really everything and start from scratch if you were to move your store off of Shopify. WooCommerce is free. You build your store on there. It's yours and you actually own it. But like I said, the UI is outdated. It's hard to use. It's not intuitive for people who are not familiar with it. The last website builder that I wanted to mention is Webflow. Webflow, I call it advanced, but it's really just newer. So all the previous website builders that are really popular that I use were built launched between 2003 and 2006. WordPress came about in 2013 in San Francisco. The guys who founded it wanted a better website builder so that you could have a professional website with no code. I built my personal website, like my professional website, like the one I would connect my LinkedIn to, with Webflow, and I like it. I thought it was very easy to use. It has a very nice UI. You know, it's a modern UI. It's not like WordPress. It looks like how it should look in 2022. A lot of designers and developers, they build templates, and some of them you can buy and purchase, but there's some that you can clone. You say, hey, I like that website, or I like this particular theme or template, and you can clone it and use it and customize it, which is really amazing because you can have a very nice, clean website that you didn't have to do much to build. And Webflow's, I guess, advantage is that you don't need to know any code to build a professional website. I like it. I've used it. I like the fact that they have the clonables. I feel as though, even though it doesn't require any coding, you still need a good foundation of web design. You need to know HTML and CSS. You need to know classes. You need to know that so that you're building things properly in Webflow. That is my opinion about it, but I think it's a nice one. I've been building a lot of websites using WordPress, but I'll be switching to Webflow because I've heard that the websites run faster, and I'll play around with it a little bit more. So if you like this video, please let me know by giving me a like, subscribe to the podcast, the YouTube channel, and share with anyone that you think this information might be useful for. Also, leave a comment. If this was helpful for you, leave a thumbs up in the comment so that I know to continue to make content like this. If you haven't already, be sure to check out my post or my episode on whether or not you should hire a web designer if you haven't already. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, a website is more than just design. Take care.